computer. Okay, and then I'm going to share my screen, and then if somebody can let me know if you can see. No, you can't, can you? Well, for some reason. Just bear with me 1 second. Let's stop sharing that. I'm going to come back.
Just saw your screen at the last minute there.
I think I've got it now. You should be able to see my 4 charts on one screen.
Yeah.
Yes, I can see 4 charts on one screen now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to move you guys out the way and get started. So thanks for jumping on. I'm recording this. I'm going to put it in the Discord channel once it's ready to put in. I'm not putting it live on YouTube because we don't want the whole world to see what this is all about. Because at some point, anybody new who wants to take the training assistant, they're going to have to pay for it in one form or another. People who are already in the group obviously won't, but we'll worry about that later. Okay, so you can see my 4 screens. For the benefit of anybody watching the replay or hasn't seen this before, all of these 4 charts are set up in the same way. I've got the same settings on each of the 4, and I'm just going to concentrate on one until something happens. In fact, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to point out that we're now looking for one of the things that we're looking for. The latest tweak that we did to the settings is we're waiting for the 13 MA, which is the yellow line, to cross over the 200 MA. If it doesn't cross over, then we don't get any trades. So this is looking the most likely of the 4 guys at the minute, because this one, the yellow is moving away from the white. This one, it's moving sort of parallel to the white. This one has crossed over previously and is still moving away. But this one's looking like it might be the first one to cross over, so that's EuroCAD. And that's really how I'm going to visually judge things in the future. So I'm going to look at one pair at a time. In fact, I'll go back and I'll focus on this one, because that's the most likely one to trigger first. So basically, all 4 are set up in exactly the same way. I'm going to go through what everything means on the screen. As you can see, it says no trade zone out of session. That's because we can't take any trades until 1:15. So that green line there indicates 1:15. This is the 1 o'clock vertical line. And what the trade assistant is doing, it's going to wait until those candles are all complete, all 15 of those candles, and then it's going to look at the highest point. So if it was complete now, that would be the highest point, and it would look left, and it would look for the nearest higher candle. Now, I don't think that one's higher, but I think that one's slightly higher. If not, it'll probably be that one. And then it'll draw a trend line across those 2 points and continue on. So that'll be the green trend line. And then looking at the lowest point at the minute, that is the lowest point I can see on the screen. But there is a lower point. If I just move that to one side, you can see over on the left-hand side, there is a lower point there. So it'll probably draw a line from that point there, if that's still the lowest point. It'll take it back to the point we just looked at, and you'll end up with a green trend line pointing down and a red trend line pointing up. And then this will change to looking for trades, or in the trade zone and looking for either a buy or a sell signal. if price gets above the green trend line, it will say looking for a buy. If it gets below the red trend line, it will say looking for a sell. And we then look for three other what's the word I'm looking for? We're looking for three other factors, I should say. One is we're looking for a recent wave change. Now these dull red candles are the actual price candles. These bright red are wave blocks. So we have red wave blocks, we have green wave blocks, and then at that point it changed back to red. So we're looking for a recent change. We're looking for, currently we'll be looking for a wave down because that's the current trend. When it gets to the green trend line, we'll look back again. And basically we're looking for a change of wave direction within the last 20 candles. That's a setting that you can adjust in your own settings, but I've got mine set to 20. So if there has been a previous wave change, then we're hoping at this stage, we're hoping that it will be this wave down, and we're hoping that we'll be getting priced below the red trend line. The third thing we look for is the Wada Atta, and this is down here, and basically we look for the white line to be above the red line and pointing away from the red line, and we look for the histogram, the red bar there, to be above the white line, and so in this scenario here, that's the idea we're looking for. So that's telling us that the trend is downwards. So the final factor is the crossover, and this is the one that we've been looking at recently, and we've now got the yellow 13 moving average just crossing over the white moving average. So if that remains the same, when we get past this green horizontal, sorry, this green vertical line, it'll take us into, well, provided the other factors are all in line, it would take us into a sell. Now, I found by back testing that if you wait until the 13 moving average crosses over the 200 moving average, you've got a way better chance of a successful trade. Basically, we're going to get less trades than we did previously, but our win rate is going to be much higher. And this morning, well, I was looking at 5 pairs this morning. I was looking at the 4 Crossfire pairs, but I also looked at Euro US, and 4 out of the 5 were successful trades. And so I think that's the way things are going to go on the Crossfire system. We'll get less trades, but there's more chance, more likelihood of those trades being winning trades. Now, we've got the trend lines in place. And basically what's happened is that this lowest candle is supposed to be the lowest. Let me just put those on. So basically there's a little bit of a dilemma here. This should, yeah, that is it's taken it from that point there. It maybe should have taken it from that point there. Makes very little difference, to be honest. Let's just go back. So that's looking like a horizontal line. It should be slightly inclined, I'm guessing. We'll see if we can get that right. But it doesn't make any difference to the current situation because price is currently in what we call no man's land. It's between the green trend line and the red trend line. So we're not taking any trades. It's saying in the trade zone as of that's saying 1500, that means 1300 because my broker is 2 hours ahead of me. It's recognizing that we're not looking for a buy trade and we're not looking for a sell trade. We're in the trade zone, but because we're still in no man's land, it's not looking for a buy and it's not looking for a sell. We have to hope that we very quickly get beyond the red trend line, and then we'll be looking for sells. And we have to hope that that happens within 5 candles of that crossover, because my current setting only accepts the crossover within the last 5 candles. If it's 6 or more candles, it won't get me into a sell. So I'm really just looking for a very recent crossover. Again, that's something you can change in the settings. You could set it to 6 or 10 or even 20. You could set it to whatever number you want. I'm finding that it's better get more reliable trades if you keep them quite tight. So we're now on 1, 2, 3 candles after the crossover. So it's looking unlikely that we'll get a sell opportunity just yet. In addition to that, the water atta will keep me out in any case. Just going to move that down. It's a little bit. Hover over that and move that down. There we go. So the water atta is that you've got the white line below the red line. You can barely see the red line, but it's below the red line. We need the white line to be above the red line and pointing upwards. And we need these histogram bars to be above the white line. So there's no trading opportunity there as we watch it. So basically, it's saying the HA signal is currently short, which it is because we've got red. That HA stands for Heiken-Ashes. So we're in a red Heiken-Ashes situation, a red wave, a downward wave. It's recognizing that, and it's saying that happened for the last 8 bars. Looking backwards, you've probably got 9 bars there because it doesn't count the first one. So I think what I need to do is go back to the 4 charts, see if we can see another opportunity. So this one, the yellow line is starting to look as if it might cross over the white line at some point in the future. The price at the minute is just hovering around the green trend line. So it's not looking for a buy at the minute. When it gets above the green trend line, it'll say looking for a buy signal. Similar here, we're just below the green trend line. That one we've just looked at. This one is going away from the yellow line is moving away from the white line. So that's highly unlikely to give us a trade in the near future. It could well change, but at the minute, that's not looking good. So I'm going to look at my settings and go through them because I think I'm ready to publish my settings now. Based on what happened this morning, I think we've actually got to the point where we're a lot more comfortable with the settings. So click on expert list, properties. I've made this smaller so that I can concentrate on just a few items at a time. So the settings that you can see now are pretty much what they were previously, and I'll go through them anyway, again, for the benefit of anybody watching the replay. There might be some new people watching the replay. So at the top of the, oh, sorry, I need to point out that when you look at the common tab, you need to check that it says allow algo trading. If that's unchecked, then you're not going to get into any trades. Then on inputs at the top, you've got you're saying that you want the trading assistant to use the risk percentage for lot calculation. So based on what percentage of your balance you choose, the trading assistant will automatically work out your lot size. So if I'm saying, if I've got $100,000 account and I want to risk 0.5%, I'm going to risk around about $500. So I'm saying that, yes, I want you to use the risk percentage as a calculation. So it's going to use 0.5%. And it's going to look for a risk to reward of 1 to 2. So I'm risking 0.5% to make 1%. Entry lots, I've never thought of that. I'm not quite sure how that would affect it. But basically, I'm saying I want you to give me a stop loss of 3 pips. So the 3 pip stop loss is used in the calculation, for the lot size. The take profit pips really doesn't come into it. You can set your take profit pips at 6, which equates to 1 to 2, but the fact that you've got 2 in there overrides anything. So even if you put 4 in there or 8 in there, it wouldn't change your reward, because your reward is based on the difference. So we're going from 1 to 2 risk to reward.
You can still put your stop loss as 4 pips if you wanted to.
Oh yes, you can alter your stop loss pips. That will affect your lot size. The smaller your pippage in your stop loss, the bigger your lot size will be. The number of pips, basically, that is your profit regulator, to be honest. Because your pip size, if you look at here, it says calculated lot size 21.68. That's based on a stop loss of 3 pips, and it works out 3 pips will cause me to lose 1/2 of 1%. So that is your profit regulator. This number here really doesn't affect it. It's down to the number 2. It's down to what you put in there. I'm telling it I want to risk 0.5%, but I want to make risk to reward of 1 to 2. So I'll make a profit of 1%, 2 to 1. The magic number really is all 4 of these pairs have the same magic number. And I'll explain that a little bit further down. I've put a trade comment in there. That's really just to tell me that it's an afternoon session of Crossfire. These things are important if you're using a trade, if you're using a funded account, because if lots and lots of people have the same trade comment and have the same magic number, the funding company will recognize that. So we all need to have a different magic number, and we all need to have a different trade comment. Moving the chart to the left, that really just moves the current candle, moves it away from all of this information here. So when you take it out of the box, it probably says 18, and I've just changed it to 36, so I can see what's happening with the current candles. And I've asked it to send me an alert when it places a trade, so it's an audible alert. And then the last part is the use the spread filter. You can toggle that between false and true. I like that to be true, and I like it to give me I like it to use a maximum spread of 2 pips. In other words, not so much in the afternoon session, but certainly in the morning session, quite often the New Zealand pairs, you have a spread of more than 2 pips. And this would prevent you from getting into a trade when the spread was too high. I like it at 2 pips. If I wanted to trade the New Zealand pairs, I would probably have to let it go to 3 pips, but then if you've got a stop loss of 3 pips and then your spread is another 3 pips, you're going to lose a lot of money. And you're not going to make a lot of money either, because the spread is reducing the amount of profit that you take. So I'm going to move those out the way and then look at the expert protectors. So this is another lot of information. So expert protections, I'm saying I want the trading assistant to limit my losses to on this session to 2% of my balance. So in other words, I've got 4 pairs and I'm prepared to lose 0.5% on each pair. So if I lose all 4 trades, it'll stop me trading. And if I get to the point where I've made this is, I mean, I will probably manually get out even if I made 2%. I'll probably, so that's a sort of a fantasy number, if you like, in that I'm never going to get up to 6%. Not the way I trade anyway. I'd be satisfied if I got 1% out of each of the 4 pairs. I'd be more than delighted. But you can change that number just to give you a bit of leeway. And the important thing is that you can toggle this between false and true. I put mine on true because then what it does is it lumps all of these 4 pairs into one basket. They've all got the same magic number, and therefore it'll take those 4 pairs into consideration when you reach 2% loss. It will stop you trading.
With that, Richard, I'm only dealing in Euro USD, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
If you're only trading 1 pair,
yeah.
What
I'm tending to do is if it gets into a trade and whatever it does, I come out of it and reload it because it's saying that it's had a trade already. So within that session, every time it does one at the moment, I just reload it back in and it picks another trade up if it sees one.
Yeah, you can do multiple trades on that way. But that is a nice way of limiting your losses when you're trading more than 1 pair. If you're trading 4 pairs, what I noticed initially was that there were occasions when all 4 pairs went into a loss, and you were in danger of losing more than you intended if you didn't have this set to true. I haven't altered the partial close settings. I will play around with those later, but I've just left that at false. You can toggle it to true, but I've got mine on false. So that just ignore everything down there. New settings. Just move that up. So I've got the new settings set to true. Again, you can toggle that. I wanted to stop trading when there's news, and I wanted to stop entering trades 10 minutes before the news and not go into a trade until more than 10 minutes when there's high impact news. So if you toggle that one, you get a drop down menu and you can change that. You can have it so it only keeps you out of high impact news or moderate or low or none. I've got mine set on high. I noticed that there isn't any news this afternoon or any high impact news this afternoon. So these are the Crossfire properties. And I've got that one set at 900. That's because each buy candle is 1 minute, and I want the trading assistant to look back to the start of today's session. And today's session actually started at 10 p.m. last night in the UK. That's when the Asian market opens. So that's 15 hours ago. And 15 times 60 is 900. So on the afternoon session, the setting is 900. On the morning session, it's 420, which is why I've got 2 lots of settings. I've got an AM and a PM setting. The bars forwards, it's set at 15. I've never moved it. It just works. Just works fine at 15. The valid trading bars, this is how long to trade, because unlike some of the other trading assistants, you don't need to put the start and end time. You just need to put the start time. So this session started at 1300, and I like it to go on for 3 hours until 4 o'clock. So that's 3 times 60 is 180. I've increased the line width. That's the trend lines. So there's a red trend line, a green trend line. It was 2 when it came out of the box. I put mine on 4. Trading time settings. All I've done, well, you need to put on you on this setting. I could actually just have the 1300 because I don't trade these 4 pairs on the morning session. So I guess I could get rid of that 6 o'clock on this setting and get rid of the 1300 on the morning session setting. But because I'm trading these 4 pairs at this time, it's not taking trades on the morning pairs. I don't want to trade on a Sunday, trade every other day. European summertime. Right, the exit signal settings. I've moved this. I used to, I think when I was on before, I said I had this set for to exit on the change of Icon-Ashi. So you can toggle that. You can get a drop-down menu. You can ask it to, but that one's not relevant because the HMA doesn't work on the Crossfire trading assistant. You can either have it so that it changes when the Icon-Ashi changes, rather than wait till it goes down to your stop loss. If it changes color, changes direction, it'll take you out before you go to your full stop loss. Or you can just have it on, I guess that should say stop loss only, SL only. But as it happens, I've changed mine to TP only. That's an optional thing. It does seem to work if you put it on HA. I can actually I've changed mine to 13. So my Icon-Ashi candle should be pretty much in line with the 13 moving average, the yellow line. I've changed these signal look back bars. I forget what they were when it came out of the box, but I've got, so basically, if there's a wave change within the last 20 bars, it'll take account of that. If the wave change is on 21 bars or more than 20 bars, it won't count that. I'll explain that when we go back to the chart. And I've got the HA indicator on. The FVG, again, the Crossfire trading assistant doesn't take into account anything on the FVG settings. But I've noticed that if you don't change these to, you've got to change that to false. You can toggle it between true and false. If you don't change it to false, and if you don't reduce these to 0, if you have any values in there other than 0, it'll show you the FVG indicator on the chart, and I don't like to see those. Equally, the HMA settings are totally irrelevant to this trading assistant. So we then start to look at the MA crossover. This has been the big change that has got me a bit more success. I got Oliver to incorporate the 2 moving averages so that it only takes trades when there's been a very recent crossover of the 2 moving averages. So you've still got the 3 MA filter and you've still got the 2 MA filter, and you need both of those on true. I had a bit of a glitch yesterday because I had this one on false and it wasn't working properly. So Oliver had a look at it and said, put them both on true. But you're actually looking at the 2 MA crossover, and for it to be valid, it's got to be within the last 5 candles. I guess you might be able to change that. You might be able to increase it a little bit, but I certainly think that you need the crossover to be pretty recent to be valid. The MA, the fast MA is a 13, and the medium and the slow MA, I've got both set to 200 because I've only wanted it to take account of the 2 moving average costs. That's the important thing that we've recently added, and that will make a huge difference to your trading success. Everything else, I've got true there where it says use MA entry filter. I'm not sure what effect that would have if I took it off, but I'm leaving it at true. Then the WAE indicator, I haven't changed any of those values. Those are the same values that we had on the WAE when we were trading manually. Those are all exactly the same settings. This screen zoom is to do with these lines here. I'm not at all sure what it says, show actions for diagnostics. That's something that Oliver's added yesterday. He didn't explain it to me, but it came out of the box on false, so I've left it on false. Anybody got any questions?
So is this one's different? Has Oliver added the what was it? The MA crossover? Has he added something? Has he added the 2.2, the last one that we did? This version 106.
Version 106, but it's 106, and it's a different one because it now includes the 2 moving
MA crossover. Right.
So
is this gonna? Are you gonna be able to put this one into the chat so we can download it?
Yeah, I'll let you all have it at some point. I'm not quite. I'll tell you what, I'll put it in the chat, but I'll do it at the end of the session, and then I don't get everything confused. So the main change with if you've got 1.06, you need to download the 1.06 brackets 1. And it includes all of these new bits of information. And you just need to, I'll send you my set list. There's a different set list for the morning and different set list for the afternoon. And the main difference is the look back bars. Where are we? No, further down.
Yeah, look like bars 5, is it? Was it funny?
Yeah, I'm looking back 5 bars for the MA crossover. I'm just looking for the this one here, the valid training bars. That's there. So in the afternoon session, I'm asking you to look back to 10 o'clock in the morning. So 10 o'clock last night, the start of the Asian session. So that's 15 times 60, 900. In the morning session, I wanted to look back to the same point, but it's a much shorter, it's 420, I think. So that's the basic difference between the two. But also, I'm using a different magic number for the 2. So on here, I've got 212121, and I think on the other one, I've got 212122 or 2120. It's a different magic number to keep them separate. Let's have a look back at the chart, see if there's anything going on. I didn't hear any. So just to go through, it says in the trade zone, and that's all it says, because it's not looking either for a buy or a sell, basically because we're in no man's land. Well, we've just popped out. No, we're still in no man's land. There's a red, there's a green. We're still in between. Therefore, we're not looking for buys. We're not looking for sells. On this one, it says the same in the trade zone, but we're not looking for buys or sells because basically we're just barely outside the yeah, we've just gone above the green. So any minute now, that'll change to looking for a buy signal. So we'll be above the green trend line. That's number one. We're looking for buys, but we can't get in for a buy because we've got a green wave became a red wave. So the red wave is contradicting the buy. And also we don't have the crossover yet. And the water atta is not set up properly yet. It needs to be like that. We need the white line pointing away from the red line. And we need the histogram to be stepping up, not stepping down. At the minute, it's white line is still below the red line. But we're looking like this might be going in the right direction. If this, if you think back to when I was trading manually, I would always say, look, it's highly likely to bounce off the 200 moving average. It just went through it and then came back again. It's just weaked up to it and it's come back again. So it's trying to get through the 200, but it's not quite made it yet. When it gets past the 200, we're then closely looking at the yellow moving average. We want that to cross over the 200 as well. And then you see, we've got a wave change. It went from green to red. It's now back to green. So that's all setting up nicely. We need this to set up a little bit more. But let's just keep an eye on that one. Be nice to get a trade during the session. So we'll watch this. It's changed now to saying looking for a buy signal, and that's because we've come above the green trend line. So we're looking for a buy. Right, it's broken past the 200 moving average. We're waiting for the yellow to break past to cross over the 200. Again, the yellow can behave like the price candles. It can get up to the 200 and then bounce off again. But this is looking promising. The white is moving away from the red, and the histogram bars are above the white line. And we've got two there, both. Well, the second one was above the first one, but it's fluctuating at the minute. The fact that that's come back down is reflected here. It's saying WAE signal no trade. That will change to long when this is satisfactory. Price is literally it's finding resistance at round about the 200 moving average at the minute. If we were to get in for a buy here, we might be lucky and we might get a good trade, but because we haven't crossed over, that's going to keep us out. And that is going to stop you getting into a trade that is in consolidation. Because at the minute, there's three things can happen. It can either break through that 200 and continue upwards, or it can bounce off the 200 and start its journey back down, or the third option is it can just move sideways and it can just cling to that 200. And that would mean that if you got in for a buy, you could quite easily lose that trade. So that's why we've adopted the crossover as one of the criteria. See what's happened down here. The buyers have sort of scaled down, and now the sellers are in charge. So we'll look at a different pair. So the moving average is kind of parallel to the 200. It is fluctuating because it's a faster moving average, but it's still sort of staying parallel to the 200. So there's nothing going on there. This one is the one we just looked at. It's looking like it might go to the 200. This one is moving away from the 200. This one's going parallel. So that one and this one are behaving in the same way. It's telling me that we're not looking for a buy or a sell because we're still in no man's land. We're between the green trend line and the red trend line. Nothing going on. This one's broken below the red trend line, so we're looking for a sell. We've got a change of wave direction. We've gone from green to red, but we won't get in because the yellow moving average is pointing away from the 200. So that one's heading back towards the 200, although it could just be in consolidation. That's looking the favorite. Yeah. So that current candle opened away from the 200 moving average. That's a good sign. The Heikin-Ashi candles are getting slightly bigger, not massively bigger, but they're pretty consistent. This isn't ready yet, and the 13 needs to cross over the 200. Today's trading is different to yesterday's trading. There was a lot of news, and I didn't get any trades using this lot of settings. Basically, because if you looked at the all of the charts, they were just moving sideways. But it looks as if we might be going. The Wada is correct. That Heikin-Ashi candle is bigger than that one. It's bigger than those at the bottom, so it's looking good. Any second now, perhaps on the next candle, we might get a crossover. That's still saying no trade, but when the next bar appears, if it's still moving upwards, if the histogram's still moving upwards, that will change to long. There, instead of no trade, it will say long. So we're looking for a buy. What I found is that the price will, once that 13 yellow line gets across the 200, you'll see some upward movement. Doesn't go straight up, but you'll see some more positive movement. So price was coming up here, it hesitated, and then it's continued up. Then the general trend is sort of leveling off. The 200 was pointing downward, it's leveling off. It might be starting to go upwards any minute now. Right, so we're just waiting for this. It's still saying no trade. Just crossed over. We need another bar, dark green. And then we should be in a trade. We're just waiting for this to sail on. And then we've got all the ducks in a row. We've got, we're above the green trend line. We've got a change from red to green, so that's a wave change. We've got a crossover of the MAs. We're just waiting for this. That needs to change the line. See how that's gaining in height. There we go. Just got it in. By coincidence, that has just started to go down, but it got me in at the end of that candle. So can you see the little blue upward pointing arrow? That's telling me that it got me in. There is a, if you right click here and you click on trade levels, it shows you the red line, red dotted line there is a stop loss. The red dotted line there is a take profit. And the green line is the entry point. Over here, it's telling me that I'm minus 0.5 pips. But there's my target. There's my stop loss. I'm currently 0.7 pips down. Oh, got another one. So that's having a little bit of a wobble, but look, it's going up now. So we're in two trades, which slightly in profit on the first one and slightly in profit on the second one. I'll have a look at the second. Now these are both US dollar pairs. When I was trading manually, I probably wouldn't have got into two US dollar pairs, but now that we've discovered this this crossover seems to work for us, I'm more confident taking two similar. We're just sort of struggling to get into profit there. But everything's lined up. We're above the green. We've got a wave change here, just a few candles back. We've got a crossover, a couple of candles back, and the Wada Atta was definitely in my favor. Don't worry too much about the Wada Atta once I've got in a trade. If it came right down and it was changed it to red, I might start to wonder if I should be getting out. But the fact that it got me in is sufficient. Let's have a look, see if we can compare the two. So this one is moving a little bit better. So I'm 1.8 pips up on that one. I'm aiming for 6 pips. And you see the explosion line is still pointing upwards, getting higher. That's giving me confidence to stay in. And this is moving up quite nicely. That's 3.5 or 2.5, I can't tell. So again, green trend line, we're above the green trend line. We had a wave change at that point. The Icon Ashes is still quite strong. The yellow move crossed over the white, and the Water Atta was in my favour. Now the Water Atta has changed to saying no trade, but that doesn't worry me. We're in the trade. And we are more than, well, we're more than halfway there, aren't we? So we're both in profit. This one more profit than that one, but we got into that one second, so that's to be expected. We'll have a look at the other two pairs, see what chance there is. We've just got above the green trend line, and the yellow trend line, sorry, the yellow moving average is pointing towards the white moving average. So that's shaping up nicely. The Water Atta's starting to shape up nicely. Now, what happened there? It took me out. It's hit the profit. Hit the profit. We're in another trade now. So I've got my profit there. So that we got into that one
That
first.
should be in a fucking.
That one was successful. This one with 2.4, 2.5 pips up. If I click on there and get trade levels, I'll get the lines on. And I've got a fair way to go on that one. But it's positive. We've got nice, strong wave Heiken-Ashi bars. We're above the green. We've had the crossover very recently, and the Water Atta was definitely in my favour at that point. So we just need to sit and wait. So we'll have a look at that third one that we got into. That's actually lost. It got me in at that point, and it got me out when it turned around. So that one wasn't as positive. It got me in up there for some reason. And then it wicked up. It wicked up and it got me in, and then it wicked down and got me out. Now, so we've won one, we've lost one, and the other one is on its way. That one is gonna will I guess get up to the crossover shortly. We're above the green. We've had a recent wave change. It's heading north. So we'll have a look at this one. So we've got all green candles. There was a bit of hesitancy at that point, then it went up, a bit of hesitancy there. Now it's continuing up. So is that 3.4 pips, 3.3 pips?
Just curiosity, Richard. I'm running. I'm only doing Euro USD. I'm actually running the Crossfire, but also the Cloud Commander as well.
Right.
I think this is the third time in 2 days it's got me in exactly the same trade, exactly the same price, with a stop loss and take profit. And yet there's different settings in there. There must be. And it's duplicated. It's duplicated exactly the same trade. It's in it. It's in it now. The one that's on Euro USD. And so there's two trades running, one for the Commander and one for the
Crossfire. I really don't know enough about the other trading assistants to comment really. I mean, I guess if you've got a strong upward movement, and if you look at it, you see this we've got a real strong upward movement there. It's the strongest it's been, even in the downward movement. It wasn't as strong as that even in that down. So that's the strongest move we've had for some time. So I would guess I would expect any trading assistant to pick up on that.
Okay.
And you see this strong upward movement of the Heikin-Ashi candles. That's because, or is it coincidental? But this crossover, I think, is the thing that's going to make this Crossfire trading assistant work really well. We spotted this. I seem to remember you, Helen, pointed this out a while back, didn't you? That the strongest moves were when the crossover occurred. But here we go. We just need another push, and we've got 2 successful trades. If we get 2 winners and 1 loser, we're still in profit.
Sorry, Richard, I'd lost my Zoom controls. I couldn't find the unmute button. Yes, I did.
Yeah, I remember you pointed it out quite a while back, and just by coincidence, I discovered that the same thing when I was back testing, and it seems to really work. I guess we could change the values of the moving averages. I mean, one of Paul's trading assistant has 13 and 377. The actual values of the moving averages, so long as there's a big distance between them, it seems to work. We just stalling, but this happens a lot. If you look at the actual price candles, they're all green. You've got a couple of indecision candles here, but now we've got a red one there now. But it's just moving upwards. There we go. We've got another trade. So that's the 4 pairs. So we're slightly down on that pair. Again, that's not unusual. Sometimes it gets you in and then comes back down again, as long as it doesn't go too far down. Oh, it is. It's going to take me out, isn't it? Going to take me out there. It's just taking me out. So the Canadian.
That's a shame because it was almost at your take profit, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's gone down to my stop loss. So 2 Canadian dollar pairs were disappointing, but the 2 US dollar pairs, this one's coming back a little bit.
Fuck away.
I'm thinking, what would I do if I was trading this for real? I might be tempted to get out now because I've got 3.4, 3.5 pips. I might be tempted to get out and not risk losing anymore. Hang on a minute, it's going back up again. Is it going to have a last minute push? I would seriously be thinking about getting out because I've got 1%,
4.7.
almost up to 1% on this one, and I've lost 0.5%. So I'm still in profit overall. You watch there we go. We're going up. We're going up. But there we go. So that's another 1%. Because my risk to reward is 1 to 2. So I'm risking 0.5% to gain 1%. So that's not a bad afternoon's work. I've got 1% on that pair, I've got 1% on that pair, and I've lost 0.5% on each of those. Now, I'll round off by saying that this trading assistant is designed to not enter any more trades because it's saying you've already traded. I think in the past I've noticed that occasionally it did get me into another trade when it shouldn't have done. But it's not supposed to get me into a second trade. However, there is a way around it. But you know, if I traded that for real this afternoon, I'd be perfectly happy with just leaving it as it is, one trade on each pair. But you can get around it if you want. Well, as Gary said, if you put another in there. Let's say I wanted to. Let's say I thought that there was a bit more room for profit on Euro US. Actually, it wouldn't, because even if I loaded it again, it wouldn't get in because this crossover is more than 5 candles away. So I wouldn't be able to get in for another trade. I could get in on a manual trade, I guess, but using the trading assistant, because that crossover has occurred 1, 2, 3, well, maybe 12, 14 candles away, it's not going to let me get in. So we've had four trades. We've won 2 and we've lost 2, and we're 1% up. You're always going to lose some trades. There's no system that's going to win every single trade, and I can tolerate losing 2 and winning 2. So, does anybody have any questions? Because that's a good point to finish. What I'll do is I'll put it in the trade chart. I'll put the 1.06 brackets 1 in, and I'll put the 2 lots of settings in as well. And I'll do that as soon as I get finished.
Just a quick question, Richard. Do you close these 4 windows now or at 3 o'clock and then reopen 4 and reload everything for the morning session and then close and reopen, or have you actually got 8 open?
Right, okay. If I use this here, which is manage profiles, and I have these 4 pairs on one profile, and if I switch to CF, it will give me my morning Crossfire.
Oh, nice. Thank you. I wasn't even aware of that option.
But you see that the algo trading is switched off. If I want to trade these pairs, I've got to switch the algo trading on. But I'll just do that again. I've got profiles. I've got the Crossfire. I need to rename them, please. But Crossfire PM, which is the one that we've just been looking at. And because I came out of it, it's automatically switched off the algo trading.
Right.
So if I click that back on, you get the 4 blue hats, and we're now back in trades. But you see, we've lost the already traded, so it is actually our new trades now.
And is it obvious how you save a new profile? I couldn't see an option when you clicked on that little button.
Right.
I'm just looking at it online.
The way I found that was I went to help topics, and I typed in their profiles. And I searched for profile, and there you go, templates and profiles. And there's a user guide.
You.
And it's here.
Brilliant. Thank you. I'll go and have a look at that.
That was how I found it. And I discovered that I could have, I need to rename them, but I can close that. There we go. So profiles, manage profiles, and you set them up, and and then you can save.
Oh, look, there's a save as option there. Yes, sorry, I didn't see that earlier. Yep, brilliant. Thank you.
And it means I can have my morning, well, this is my afternoon session.
Yeah,
If I then go to change to CF, it will give me my morning session as well.
brilliant.
And I don't have
That's
to.
really helpful. Thank you.
I don't have to load up my settings.
Yeah.
It's
And do you
already-
still have to load the Wadaratar separately as an indicator, or does it load automatically now with the TA?
It now loads with the TA. The only thing
Brilliant.
is I haven't yet
Okay.
discovered how to get it to load up. You see the blue line here? I like that to be white, and no matter how many times I change it, it reverts. But that's a minor issue. What I can do is I can click on algo trade and I get the 5. I'm looking
Yeah.
at 5 pairs in the if I get rid of that. I've got 5 pairs in the morning because I also look at Euro US.
Yeah,
You see that's from this morning. No, that's replicating what's just happened on the afternoon session. Those arrows. But that's how I do it. I just manage the profiles and I keep them separate.
I'm so glad I asked. That is really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm going to go back to Crossfire PM. And if you just click there, it fills the screen and then it should load up. And if I put algo trading back on it, all the blue hats come back on. And in theory, I can get in another trade, but I'm not going to bother because I've basically taken 1% and I'm on £100,000 account. So I've made $1,000 this afternoon.
Mm.
I don't need to trade anymore.
And the Euro US session that you have set in your morning profile, that's presumably got a different, has that got a different ID to the afternoon profile? So
Yeah.
you can load a different set on it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I've got different magic numbers.
With magic number. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Couldn't think of the word.
Yeah. So I've got different magic numbers for the morning to the afternoon and a different profile for morning and afternoon.
Yep.
Makes life a bit easier.
Lovely.
Okay. So thanks for jumping on. Have a good weekend, and I will at some point this afternoon send you those. Well, I'll put it in the trade chat. And if you've got any questions, just message me.
Right. Thank you. You have a good weekend as well, Richard.
Have a good weekend, Richard. Thank
And
you.
everyone.
Thank you very much. See you on Tuesday.
Cheers.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
You know.